Alright y'all, welcome back to another video here on the John Dodge YouTube channel. I haven't done one of these on this channel in quite some time. If you guys head over to the LS Nasty YouTube channel, you can check out a lot of Q&As, a lot of behind the scenes, a lot of different stuff. I'll put the tag to go over to the LS Nasty YouTube channel in the description below. It'll be the first link, so you guys can check that out. And you can go over there and see what we got going on. The LS Nasty channel is like way more laid back, relaxed. We talk about whatever we want to. This one I try to keep structure, video daily, and try to keep a storyline of what we got going on in my life and in the racing operation. So a couple videos ago I said that we are doing a kind of a Q&A. Comment down below and see what you got, what kind of questions you got. We'll talk about it, we'll answer it, and we'll go over everything, anything to do with LS Nasty, what we got going on and everything like that. So we'll start off. This was actually a video I made about my Caprice, which is my new daily driver. Absolutely love it. 500 horsepower, Blazing High Performance, did the work. It's pretty slick. T-cam camshaft, can't forget that. I got some headers coming in from G8 only. So yeah, I think I'm done. Shameless plugs. Am I good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's see here. The first question is, what converter do you recommend on a budget? It's for my daily. So first thing about converters, I would say, is it really depends on the transmission type. If it's a lockup style transmission, your options really narrow because you got to find like a Circle D or a Yank or who else. I mean, yeah, those are like the two. If you got like a 4L80, 4L60,
depends on power too. I mean, if you just have just a cam, I don't know if you need a $1,000 converter. Yes. But if you're making pretty good power, it's a turbo car, you know, daily, you want to spend, you know, probably $800 to $1,000 on a good converter.
Yep. Is it true that a Holley Terminator is programmed, it learns and makes adjustment? So Matt's doing all the tuning I got for me right now, trackside and everything. You guys saw him do all the tuning on the Silver Mustang. That is on Holley Terminator, and he does a really good job on that, so I'll let him speak on that more. But I guess I wouldn't say I'm super educated on everything like that, but from my understanding, the Holley Terminator, you can use the self-learn feature where you go through the wizard and you set up the parameters and let the O2 sensor learn it all, but you do have the ability to go in there and put your custom calibrations in there and really do some tuning.
Yep. So the best way to tune it is just turn off the self-learning, and then when you're driving it and running it, try to get your O2 correction to 0. You don't want like 15 here and it's pulling out 15 there. You want to try to get your O2 correction as close to 0 throughout the entire map, idling everywhere, and then you turn on the then you run the correction. I don't personally run the self-learning or whenever it can continually adjust the fuel map, because you'll get into this problem where sometimes it gets into oscillation, so it doesn't need to pull fuel, but it does, and then it just screws the whole entire map up. So I want to be in control of the map. I tune the map, and then I just let the self-correction do everything. I don't do anything with the self-learning. If you don't know anything about tuning, the self-learning, self-tuning aspect of it does work to an extent.
If you're doing like an LS swap and you just want to drive it around, the Holley will be able to manage that.
Yes.
So there it is. I mean, depending on the application, you can either use just the wizard and the self-correction, or you can get a custom tune. But I think, you know, a custom tune is very good there. So I got one question here. Where's Ben? That's been like a popular question lately. Where's Ben? And here's where Ben has been. Ben has been at the shop. He's been there working. He's got a couple cars he's been working on there. When I film, I don't always film during the day. I don't always film at the shop, and sometimes I film when everyone's gone at lunch, when I can sit there and focus and knock a video out. It really just depends on what I got going on with my days when I film. So a lot of times I'm filming after hours where like Ben isn't there, or I'm filming on a Saturday, or I'm at a racetrack. Last time we went to the track, Ben had a prior obligation. So Ben is around, and Ben's gone nowhere. I've just been, we haven't been on the same schedule. I haven't been like filming every morning when I come in there. I'm doing a lot of work with the storm work stuff, and I'm putting a lot of time towards that. So my YouTube schedule is affected by that. You guys probably notice I don't upload like right at noon every day, which I try to, but I do the best I can. Got a lot of irons in the fire. What kind of storm work do you guys do? Recently started following, so I can't get too much into detail with what we do, but we do power restoration. So we don't do like storm cleanup or anything like that. Well, we take generators and put them at different assets and power them up. I don't know if that's a terrible explanation, but yeah, we haul generators, set them up, we refuel them, we take them back, and that's probably about as much as I can talk about
infrastructure.
Infrastructure, yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Guys said, when do you want smoke from a cam only RCR G8? So my daily, I have like no desire to race it, to be honest with you. I'll probably take it to the track. I'll let my girlfriend drive it. I think it would be a great car for my girlfriend to learn to race on. I wanted a camshaft that sounds really good, that makes some power, but like I put a 3000 stall in it, so I'm not trying to be the fastest. I love when someone's like, when do you want smoke from a cam only? Like, listen, if you want smoke, I'll just pull the black sheep out there and I'll literally peel your muffin cap black. Like, dude, I've been 420s. I really don't have a desire to go 650 in the 8th. Like, I just want something. I've never owned a car. I've skipped steps. I've always had a car that had a turbo and a 400 or a turbo and a power glide. I want something with a lockup transmission, had 4 doors, and a cam that I could drive around and still be cool. So that's why I got it. So when do you want smoke from my RCR G8? Let me know. I'll bring any of my race cars out there. If we're going to go to the track and do race car things, I'll give you plenty of smoke. You'll have damn smokers along by the time I'm done with you. Are y'all coming to Atlanta this year? Possibly. I'd say the race circuit this year. We're trying to go all over. I want to go to Florida. I want to go out to Oklahoma. I want to race up in Pennsylvania.
Streetcar takeover. No prep.
Maybe a little bit of Carolina no time. 252 list. And then some Thursday night test and tune stuff and some fun like that.
28 races.
28 races. Friday night shootouts.
All of it.
Yeah, we're going to be racing a lot this year. Someone said here, I skipped it. Someone asked about, Matt, can you go over knock sensor setup on the Holley?
Yeah, that's no problem. So with the knock sensors, don't run them.
You take them off. Shut it off. You do not run a knock sensor.
Briefly, I will say that they don't work well with when you take an engine and you change any aspect of it, the camshaft, the fuel, bore size, stroke, anything. GM, they really go through a lot to tune the frequency and the harmonics of the knock sensors for that exact combo. So typically they don't work, and most of the time on anything that's making me power, if the knock sensor catches it, it's already too late. The thing's already detonated, the ring lands are gone. Just, you don't want to run them. If you're running a forced piston, the piston to wall clearance will cause the knock sensor to just go crazy. So the best thing to do is just actually tune it, check your plugs, get it on the dyno. Don't rely on the knock sensors for anything.
All right, here's another one for you, Matt. It says, how do I get in touch with Matt? I want to see if I can afford a pinion angle adjustment and 4-link alignment at his shop. Now, before you go into this, I'll say I got up with Matt because I've seen you out there racing a lot. You guys were winning a lot, and I felt like that we needed some help. We're kind of in a rocky road, always tearing stuff up, and I know what I want to do with racing. I want to go out there and win, and Matt has been a huge help for tuning, helping us get parts, different setups and configuration, wiring, trackside adjustments, 4-link adjustments, everything like that. Now, Matt does have his own shop up in Greenville, South Carolina.
Yep.
And you can take it away from there. You can tell him everything you do. Also, check out his YouTube channel.
Yeah, horsepower matters. I do a little bit of everything, so pretty much anything from just minor adjustments to full turnkey cars, chassis work, parts sales, pretty much everything. You could probably afford it. I'm not super expensive. I'm very busy, so getting it scheduled can be hard. But something like a pinion angle adjustment or 4-link adjustment, that's definitely something that you can handle on your own. It's not rocket science. I know sometimes it seems like some voodoo witchcraft when we start talking about anti-squat and instant center height. Maybe later on we'll go through a little video really telling you, like, really bringing it down to the basics to where everybody can understand it. We'll try to relate to everyone to where you understand what changes will affect the car in what ways. But as far as pinion angle adjustment, you can shoot me a message, tell me what the car's doing, and we can probably get you set up. I usually run close to 0 pinion angle. I like to do everything with the suspension and the bar angle. I don't like to do it with the pinion angle. So shoot me a message and I'll see if I can help you without you having to spend any money.
Why have Ben and Chris not been in the videos? Chris has been busy working. He owns a couple other companies. And then Ben, we already addressed that. He's been at the shop. A little more information on the black Camaro. I see the Bull Marrow. I think that's what you're talking about. It's 5th gen Camaro. Jason did a ladder bar and a cage in there. Fiberglass dash. We wired it up. Jason did the turbo kit on there. TKM power plant. It is actually going to be heading to the dyno tomorrow. So we're going to film a video on it at the shop before we load it up, kind of do an overview of it, and then we'll have a video up on the dyno at TKM Performance. And yeah, it's a really nice car. LS 427 88mm turbo Holley E85. It's got a lot of parts on there that if they ever want to turn into a real race car, you know, it's got 10 gallon a minute pump, it's got a fuel cell, it's got some really nice stuff. So if they do want to really go buck wild with it, it's one of my buddy's cars. We don't really have customers at LS Nasty, but it's one of my buddies, and we helped him out with it. Ben's been working on that. Ben did a lot of the work on that. Matt did a little bit of the work on it. Jason Brazel did some work on it. It's got a really nice turbo kit right front and center. I mean, it looks absolutely awesome. So yeah, it's a good looking car. It's a good running car.
Actually going to the dyno tomorrow.
Yeah, going to the dyno tomorrow with it. Yeah, so it's about out of here. You guys are gonna be seeing at some racetracks, probably 252 List, Kinston, 710. Red Springs, Galat. It's definitely going to be a badass car, so keep an eye out for it. What's up with the Black Sheep? So we took the Black Sheep engine down. We actually broke a keyway in the crankshaft, and the balancer spun on there, throwing our timing off. Last time we took to the track, we were like, man, it just sounds funny. It was idling funny. I kept saying it kept idling funny. Did I not?
You did.
I know my girl, and she was idling funny. I've been all up inside her. I know what it's like. So, we took it out, and we decided it was a good time to do some upgrades. We upgraded from that factory style LS oil pump, which is behind the front cover, which is good, but we were definitely at the limit of it. We didn't have any issues with it at that point in time, but we definitely saw some drops in oil pressure where we were struggling to maintain the oil pressure we wanted. So we went to an external oil pump. We're gonna have a different fuel pump drive setup and everything like that. We went to roller thrust bearing on there, and then we just freshened up with a fresh set of rods. Different oil pan as well. So we're gonna have some videos coming up. Matt just dropped off the pump. We got a pan on the way, and it's a very nice setup that we're gonna be going. Definitely a step in the right direction with that. Do you guys run any kind of external business out of the shop? Not like drugs or prostitution, but charging for any mechanic work out of your shop, or is it just personal? And me and my buddies, it's kind of like me and my buddies. I definitely don't want to get into a position where it's like, hey, we got 12 customer cars here, we want to get them done. I've helped out a couple of my buddies here and there. Really haven't taken on any customers of people I don't know, and I look forward to kind of keeping it that way.
Yeah, I mean, racing, honestly, with how much racing we're going to be doing, that's pretty much all we're going to be doing. It's going to be racing, working on the cars, and then racing again.
And Matt does the storm stuff as well, so between the storm stuff and the racing, it's a lot, let alone trying to build a whole nother car. That's kind of why we got the Colorado, but Bob's, when we get the Colorado back, it's already got the turbo kit, it's already got the transmission. We're going to get that stuff knocked out, and then we're going to race it. We're going to race that. We're going to race the Black Sheep. The Bad Apples pretty much got everything together. Just need to put the motor in it, and we're done with that. So we're going to try not to build as much and try to focus on racing. I think that would be good for the channel, good for you guys, and yeah. Does Matt ever drive race cars, or does he prefer tuning? So, a two-part question. Do you prefer tuning over driving, or do you, what is it?
I prefer both of them. I like to drive, and I like to tune. I have Nitro's car. We got some other cars. I drive. Have no problem with driving.
It's difficult to drive and tune.
It is. So, if I'm tuning, I just want to tune. I don't want to drive. If I'm driving, I just want to drive. Because when you get to the track, I'm worried about going over the data, checking everything out, make sure the car's ready for next round, and then getting in there and getting in the zone to drive. It's just, it's hard to do it all. I've done it. It's difficult, and hopefully now racing with John, when I bring the car to the track, his guys will be helping me, I'll be helping him. I think it'll make it better. But I do drive. I've been pretty fast. So you'll see me out here actually on the next no prep, and I'll have the car out there. So we're gonna both have. He's gonna have the silver car. I'll have my nitrous car.
Lots of nitrous everywhere.
Yeah, we're gonna go to the finals and then have to do a foot race to get the winner.
How much money did you dump into the salty chicken? A lot of the parts off of the salty chicken build we're using for the Colorado build. So honestly, you get to a certain point when you're building cars where it really doesn't matter what car you're using. The parts are the parts. You're going to use the parts that you think are going to give you the best advantage to win and perform the best, and you buy them, and then you figure out how to put them on the car. So transmission, I mean, when I was building it, if I was going to put everything in the salted chicken, I mean, all said and done, I mean, they're $200,000 cars or more. I mean, you got to think that carbon fiber body I got, I mean, the retail on that's like $16,000. I paid $8,000 for a transmission. You're going to pay $3,000 for a torque converter. I mean, it adds up quick. Rear end, you're in $4,500. You're buying $2,000 shocks. You're buying a $1,000 drive shaft.
$15,000 in electronics.
15,000, more than that. I mean, 20. I mean, if you're going all out, you can $20,000-$30,000 in electronics. Then you got to buy a motor. And a motor, you can easily build a $30,000 motor that's pretty stout, like that. Turbo, $3,000. I mean, it adds up. Fittings and lines. I mean, there's
Tires,
so much.
wheels, and then just the maintenance to upkeep it.
Yeah.
You can.
So how much money did I have in the salted chicken? I shopped around. I was buying parts for it for about 2 years, and I got some good deals. I would say, how much money do I got right now after I take everything out? So what I got left from the salted chicken, I probably got like a $5,000 front end, and a $15,000 body, and a $5,000 rear end. So I probably got 25 grand.
Yeah.
You know, sitting there. I really used almost all the parts I had from, I spent like $12,000 at Quartermax. I really used almost all of that stuff, brought up to Bob's at Coker Chassis, and he's going to be doing all the work on it for the Colorado and putting all those parts in there, use the shocks for it. So I think it's, this whole salted chicken build, I mean, dude, it is what it is. You live and you learn, your life goes on. It's a race car. I mean, it's not the end of the world. We're still going to be out there racing. We're still be out there going fast. Luckily, I was able to use a lot of the parts, and it is what it is. No skin off my back. So you need a small block Ford. We actually have a 9.5 deck small block Ford being built for the Bad Apple, which is a good little unit there. White car needs cutouts. I think I'm going to put an exhaust on my daily because I want it to sound pretty good. Probably going to do like Magnaflows and something that's still got a muffler on it. No solos. Giveaway car. No, I'm not going to give away my daily. Not going to do that. I like my daily. Need a suggestion for alcohol fuel system, 1500 horsepower capable, also filled, L33 block, good rotating assembly. What's safe boost and horsepower goals? So, fuel system wise, I've been intrigued by the Aeromotive 10 gallon a minute pump, but at the end of the day, I think you really got to stick to a mechanical pump. They're tough to beat. I mean, they really do work well. It's a mechanical pump. As long as it's spinning, it's making fuel pressure, it's pumping fuel, you're good to go. Billet atomizers and mechanical fuel pumps, good to go. A lot of guys talk about doing 210s versus a set of billet atomizers. I honestly think at this point in the game, Holley makes the low ram with a dual rail intake, which is super badass. That made it a whole lot easier. But you got to go and buy 2 sets of 210s and all your fittings and lines and all that. I think it's 6 of one, half dozen the other. I'm going to run a set of billet atomizer 700s. That's what I got in the Sheep. That's what I got in the Colorado. The Bad Apple's got a set of 575, so whether I switch them out with something and run 575s, either or, they're pretty good. What do you have to say about fuel system?
Yeah, I mean, the same thing. I've always ran mechanical pumps. One thing that you need to do is make sure that you don't buy a pump like the Aeromotive Red, the smaller ones. In all fuel pumps, I don't know why they do it, it's like snake oil. They'll say, oh, it'll make 2,000 horsepower, but that's carbureted on gasoline. So when you do EFI, that cuts it down. When you do turbocharged or forced induction, that cuts it down. When you do methanol, I mean, so you can take a pump that makes 2,000 horsepower, but then at the end of the day, you can barely make 900. So
if you're running on alcohol, you need like Aeromotive Black is like the lowest I go. It's a 12 gallon a minute pump.
Yep.
I got the cast Enderley pump that we run on the Black Sheep's 18 gallons a minute.
Yep.
And now in that range, I have a spur gear, a Weldon, Little Bertha, which depending on how it's geared, I mean, you can make up to 30 pounds or 30 gallons a minute. So I mean, it really just depends on what you want. What's your choice of injectors?
I love the Bosch 210s and like the Deca 220s. All those injectors are very good. They have good spray pattern. You don't have any issues out of them. Problem is they're not that big, so you can crank up the base pressure and get some more out of them. You have to run 2 of them. So if you're really leaning on your combo and you're like, hey, I need to make 3,000 horsepower, there's not really an injector other than a billet atomizer, like a 700, and now they even have the 1,000. The problem is those injectors are very particular to contamination, so they usually don't hang shut, they hang open, and it's so much fuel that it'll hydrolock the cylinder and it'll kick the rod out of it. So a lot of these engines that you see blowing up, it can be from an injector failure where the injector hangs open and then it floods the cylinder full of fuel and out goes the rod. So depends on what your combo is. If you can get away with running the 210s, that's what I recommend. If you can't, billet atomizer is really the only way you can go.
What's your thought on Southside Machine upper and lower control arms with urethane bushings? They are out of business, but have a brand new set. I know they're rough on torque boxes, unless the reinforcement That's some old school Fox body stuff. That's before my time. Matt's a Mustang guy.
Yeah, they're okay. Pretty much any Fox body you need to do a torque box reinforcement, like battle box. You know, something easy to put in there. You don't want to run a Fox body to track very long with stock torque boxes, because I've seen some that last, and I've seen some that, you know, first pass in a 140 60 foot and it rips the torque boxes out. And once it rips them out, it makes it a lot harder to repair them. So it's not that hard to brace them. So that's what I recommend. But, you know, those control arms and stuff, they're not that bad, but I would definitely brace it.
All right, last question here is from Scott. Said, do you run long travel shocks in the rear on your radial cars and trucks, or just standard? If so, what's the difference? So what we do on our radial cars, I've talked about a little bit in some other videos, is you want to have, you know, the most separation. You gotta be realistic. You're not gonna run a 30-inch travel shock. So we run an 8s on the salted chicken. We're running 8. When I say 8s, we're running an 8-inch travel shock on the salted chicken. So when it's fully compressed, we're running an 8-inch travel shock on the Black Sheep. I got a set of 8-inch travel shocks for the Colorado. So what that means is when it's fully compressed, when the shaft is all the way up in the cylinder, it is 0 essentially, and then as you pull it out, you count the inches, so you got 8 inches of extension. So when you set the car up, ideally, you know, you got like inch and a half of shaft showing, so when you're riding around the pits, you know, it could bounce when you're in the shutdown, going down after you shut the car off and you're rolling 100 miles an hour. The car still has some suspension. You don't want to be bound up. But when you accelerate with your bar angles and it tries to pull apart, you have 8 inches. So if you have an 8-inch travel shock, you got an inch of shaft showing, you got 7 inches of usable travel and usable separation. You'll see when we talked about in the video with Bob, a lot of the chassis has to be built around that. And I mean, this is still kind of new compared to, I mean, it's only been a couple of years guys are doing this with all this wild separation, but it's proven to be fast. It helps fight wheelies. And we run Menser shocks, which are, you know, really fine-tuned and adjustable, and you can really make a difference in the 60-foot running a radial and running good. Now, on a slick, you wouldn't want to run that setup. You don't want to run separation to beat the shit out of the tire, but yeah, we do run a taller shock than, you know, standard, and it seems to work quite well.
Yep. So pretty soon we're going to be getting, I think, in, you know, 9-10 inches of extension. You know, I think a lot of these cars, it really helps drive the nose down. So when you're going after like a low 0.9 60 foot, that's what you need to do that. So all right, so you guys asked us questions, so we're gonna ask you some questions. What would you like to see more on the channel?
Yeah, what do you guys want to see this year? Do you guys want to see us build stuff? Do you guys want to see us race more? Who do you want to see us race? Where do you want to see us race? What style of racing? Challenges. Like we want to do some other stuff than just racing. Like we want to go out there and honestly, like I like having fun. We filmed that video flying those RC airplanes. That was like the most fun I've had in a while. I mean, I'm just a big kid, so we like to go out there and have fun. And obviously, you don't want to film videos that you guys don't enjoy. So yeah, let us know what you guys want, and we'll be more than happy to go through and start knocking them off the list. So that wraps it up. I think this video today's Tuesday, so this video will probably come out Wednesday. So because we're all thrown off, I'm gonna extend the turbo giveaway till Friday. So Friday at midnight is going to be the end of the turbo giveaway. So be sure to go to lsnash.com, check it out. Triple entry Friday. So you got another chance to get entered on the turbo stuff. In case you guys forgot, I didn't mention it in the last couple videos. So thank you guys for watching. Go to lsnash.com, check out some merch. You get automatically entered to win 85mm TDI turbo from the guys over at Force Induction, Jose's sister company. It's a badass unit, real eye poker. You can go fast on it. So go to lsnash.com, check that stuff out, and we'll see you guys in tomorrow's upload.
He just doesn't know how to do a mediocre burnout.